This morning I want to talk about, we're going to talk about culture. It's something that's really important. When you talk about culture, people define culture different ways. Really the way I want to talk about culture this morning, do I just swipe this, Jones? Okay, so when I talk about culture, what I'm talking about is the way people act, feel, and respond within your organization. The way people act, feel, and respond within your organization. Culture is really what drives an organization. It's kind of what drives an organization to be what it is. And the way that culture is defined is really defined through leadership. So the way that people act within your organization, it immediately affects your organization. If I do something, it affects the organization that I work for. The way people feel, the way workers, volunteers, people that are a part of what you're doing, the way that they feel, it affects your organization, because what people feel, that's their reality. Whether what they feel is right or wrong, what they feel is their reality. So out of their feelings, then most people, even though we're faith people, right, and we know we're not moved by what we feel, most people that you will lead are moved by what they feel, reality, and reality is what they feel is the reality, and they'll act based upon their feelings. The last thing is the way people respond. When issues come up, how people react or respond to situations, all of those things drive where your organization goes. And so really what drives culture, though, is leadership. And when we'll look at our church, when my parents started the church, they were able to control the culture through meetings. And when you're a smaller church, that's how you control culture. You get everybody in a room, and we talk about all the things that we need to fix, and then we talk about this is who we are, this is who we aren't. And so we have that meeting, and then the week goes on, and you know what next week we have to do? We have to have another meeting. Because I got to continue to enforce the culture, because through my leadership, I'm developing culture. And again, by culture, I'm talking about the way people act, feel, and respond within my organization. So if we're a small organization, then it's a smaller group of people, and I'm having my weekly meetings with my staff members, with my team members, as my mom and dad did for years. And then as we begin to grow, as we begin to add more people or extensions of leadership, throughout that, then we have to have what? More meetings. We have to have more meetings to continue to enforce that culture. And so then what happens is, as you continue to grow and get bigger and bigger, it becomes a little bit more difficult to control that culture through just leaders at the top. Because what happens, have you ever played a game of telephone? You ever played a game of telephone and you say, the dog jumped over the fence, and by the time it gets to the last person, it's like the dog died in the middle of the road, and it's like something communicated completely different. What the people at the bottom are hearing is not necessarily what the leaders at the top are communicating. And that's what kind of happens as you grow as an organization. If you don't build a new model, and we try to do everything through meetings, we're not staying true to building the culture that we really want. So what we have to do then is begin to add structure. We have to begin to add parameters, because that's really what culture does. Culture is like if you go to the bowling alley, right, and you're wanting to knock down the pins, but maybe you're not that great of a bowler, and so you have them put up the bumpers, right? That's what culture does. Culture kind of guides that ball all the way down towards the pins. It makes sure that people down the line aren't taking who you are as a ministry and taking off into left field, or taking who you are as an organization and driving it in an opposite way than what that organization was originally created for. So that's what culture does. Culture kind of controls the crazies. Okay, so crazy people within your church, we all know them, right? Growing up, my brother and sister can attest to this. I mean, there's been some crazy people within the church. You guys see this. You see this in the people that you lead every weekend. What is this person doing? Or why are they responding like this? That's not how we respond. But they don't know any better. That's because if we don't have a strong culture, they don't know any better. There's no bumpers to kind of guide that ball all the way down the lane to the pin. So that's why we need culture. That's why culture is important. So the way that we kind of do that, and the way that we've talked about this, but one of the ways you build culture is through values. So when we talk about values, we're talking about key statements, key things that our organization is built around. And really, it's always been built around these things. It all started back when my mom and dad started the church. These are core values, things that have always made our church celebration what it is. And so we've spent a lot of time kind of working on what those core value statements are and developing those. And so today I want to go over those. I want to go over some core value statements that make us the church that we are. These are things that in the future are going to guide our culture. These are things that in the future, every single person, our desire is, well, the requirement first, every single person on our staff, we will know these core values in and out. And then our desire is that as it trickles down into our volunteers and the people of the church, that when people hear celebration, they would know exactly, from entering our facilities to talking with one volunteer, they would know exactly who we are and what we're about and what our culture stands for and what our culture represents. Because then we're able to control, really, the way people act, feel, and respond within our organization. And when we do that, we can be effective. We can be that much more effective in reaching people. That's what made our church really take off in the beginning. You have these meetings, you get people fired up and go. We're doing it. Well, as we continue to grow and that spreads out, you got to get that same energy to be passed out through every single meeting. It becomes difficult. So the way that we improve that is through core values. Everybody with me? Okay, so we're going to talk about these. One of the first ones, and this core value goes way back to the beginning of our church, and it's this: it's relationship, not religion. One of our core values at the church is relationship, not religion. What are we talking about? It's not about what you can do for God. It's about what God has done for you. I want everybody writing these down in this meeting. It's going to be really important that we get these in us. So to see it, to hear it, to write it, it's just step one in kind of getting this in us. So relationship, not religion, core value number one. And we won't critique my punctuation and all that yet, because this is just round one, okay? But they're there. Just listen to what I have to say. Relationship, not religion. It's not about what you can do for God. It's about what God has done for you. Core values are really weapons. They're weapons for us as leaders. They're weapons for the people that we lead. They're really answers to questions. And so what we do then with the people that we're leading, we're equipping them with weapons, or we're equipping them with answers. How many times has a question from a new person been asked to a volunteer, why do you do this? What is the response? A lot of times it's, I don't know, let me find a staff member. Either that, or they try to make up an answer, and both of those are not okay. We want them to be equipped. It's about relationship, not religion. One of the things that we deal with a lot in some of the meetings that I've had recently are dealing with people that feel like, they got to be good enough for God, or, I come and I get saved, but next weekend I got to come and I got to raise my hand again. We want those people to know, you know what, your life, your walk with God, it's about relationship, not religion. It's not about what you can do for God. It's about what God has done for you. To every core value like this, then there are add-on statements. There's things that we talk about that circle around this core value. Things like, religion teaches you that you obey and therefore you're accepted, but the gospel of Jesus Christ, it teaches you that you're accepted, and it's that acceptance then that motivates you to obey. Okay, so those are things that we talk about when we talk about relationship, not religion. We want it to be a core value. We want, when people come to church, we want them to know we don't want to misrepresent our faith. We don't want to misrepresent Christ. We don't want them to think that it's about their works, that God accepts them because of their works. So our core value is about relationship. We want to drive people to relationship. We don't want them to have a relationship with church. We want them to have a relationship with God. Okay, so relationship, not religion. Second core value, always only Jesus. Always only Jesus. What does this mean? We are known for what we are for, not for what we're against. We're known for what we are for, not for what we are against. Always only Jesus. We're known for what we are for, not for what we're against. In other words, we keep the main thing the main thing. Okay, so good question on the weekend. Somebody come to a volunteer. How come you don't talk about key social issues from the platform? How come you don't talk about homosexuality? How come you don't talk about fat people? Well, sometimes we do. How come you don't talk about this or that? Well, this is the thing. We're always only Jesus. So as far as our church, we're going to be known for what we're for, not for what we're against. In other words, it comes down to this. We're all going to disagree on something, and this is what we want communicated. We're all going to disagree on something. The one thing that we have to agree on is Jesus. The one thing we have to agree on, that Jesus is the Savior. He's the one that we need. He's the one thing, the one common thread that we have to agree on. So it's one thing that we're going to be big on. It's a core value, always only Jesus. When people want to come in, because we're going to experience this. I think you got asked this question this last weekend. So people are going to come in and ask questions. We want not just us to be able to answer questions, but we want to volunteer. Well, you know what? We're not going to be known for what we're for what we're against. We're going to be known for what we're for. It's really important that when we stand up on a platform, that's what we do. We're gonna fill people with hope, not condemnation, because that doesn't help. Love is our greatest weapon. Hate is not. So through this core value, we express those things, okay? And that's that talk that kind of happens around. So always only Jesus. We are known for what we're known for what we are for, not for what we're against. We keep the main thing the main thing. Next, teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. And then the tag for that, our church is not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but on the sacrifice of many. Teamwork makes the dream work. Our church is not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but on the sacrifice of many. How come Pastor isn't speaking every weekend? Celebration, we believe that teamwork makes the dream work. Our church is not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but on the sacrifice of many. How come so-and-so is not singing more? Teamwork makes the dream work. We're not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but on the sacrifice of many. So it's not centered around one anointed man. We're a team. We're a team sent to take the message of Jesus, the message of hope, the message of the gospel. It's not about us. It's about the message. And we believe that teamwork makes the dream work. Our church is not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but on the sacrifice of many. Okay, so relationship, not religion. Always only Jesus. Teamwork makes the dream work. The next one, we live to give. Celebration, core value statement, we live to give. And then the subtext to that, giving changes lives, and for us, there is nothing better. Giving changes lives, and for us, there's nothing better. And then this is where, again, the circle talk around this, we live to give, giving changes lives, for us, there's nothing better. Our entire faith is based upon giving. For God so loved the world that he gave. God set the precedent that the way that you change the world is by giving. So we believe that giving changes lives, and for us, there's nothing better. Okay? This is our core value centered around generosity. We lead the way in generosity. We don't apologize for challenging people to get in the game and give, because God gave. That's why we have our faith. And so as participants in that faith, we should give. So then that becomes another weapon. Why are you guys so big on talking about money? Well, here at church, we live to give. We live to give. God gave, so we give. Giving changes lives. For us, there's nothing better. Okay? Next core value, enjoy life. Enjoy life. Enjoy life. Life should be enjoyed, not endured. We will have fun and laugh often. This is a core value. This is something we want in our culture. We don't want to be an uptight, sad, funky, moody church. We want to be a fun church. We want to enjoy life. We think that church should be enjoyed, not endured. But even more importantly, we think that life should be enjoyed, not endured. That our existence here on this earth shouldn't be a survival mentality, but we should have a mentality that we are going to be everything that God has called us to be, that we have an abundant life, a life that's full of happiness and joy and fun. We're not just about the work of the ministry. We want to enjoy every day. That's why I talk about things like talking the positive, speaking the good things, getting that out of our mouth so it's into our ears and changes the way that we live. We enjoy life. We enjoy life. Life should be enjoyed, not endured. We will have fun and laughed often. All right? Next one, we're better together. We're better together. We're better together. Through our church family, we find strength, wisdom, and support for our lives. Why are we big on community? Why do we do C groups? Why do we try to get people to come back after the weekend to go to somebody's house or to go to an event to hang out or to get involved in a resource group? Because we believe that we're better together, that it's through our church family we find strength, wisdom, and support for our lives. When we talk about that, that's where we talk about, the Bible talks about this, that iron sharpens iron. As iron sharpens iron, one man, his life sharpens the other. We were created to live in community together. And so for that purpose, we believe that we are better together. Better together. Through our church family, we find strength, wisdom, and support for our lives. We're a family. It's all things that kind of circle around that core value. So again, these are weapons, these are triggers, these are things that in our vibes, get involved in this. The why, because we believe we're better together, that it's, through our church family that we find strength, wisdom, and support for our lives. When you're going through something that you're not alone, that's why you got to be involved, because we're better together, right? That's how all weaves together. It's unbelievable. Yeah, you're welcome, Rick. It's unbelievable. Okay. Next one, on purpose, for a purpose. What does that mean? It's an honor to use our time, talent, and passion to serve people. Life change doesn't stop with us, it starts with us. This is about serving, that we exist on purpose, for a purpose. You were made intentionally, you're not an accident. And you're here for a reason. You're made for a reason, and you're here for a reason. It's an honor to use our time, talent, and passion to serve people. The things that make us tick, the things that we're interested in, the things that we're good at. Knowing that life change doesn't stop with us, it starts with us. I don't just come in and receive Jesus and get to sit and just be filled. It's an honor to use my time, talent, and passion then to serve people. Because the beginning of my story then transfers into the beginning of someone else's story. On purpose, for a purpose. On purpose, for a purpose. This is where we talk about serving. We talk about the backpack, people coming in with weights. Every greeter, every song, every security person, you're taking out one of those weights. The burdens that people carry in their lives. We talk about our serving is a stepping stone in someone's decision to receive Christ. We exist on purpose, for a purpose. We weren't just made to come and be spectators. We're made to be in the game, on purpose, for a purpose, right? On purpose, for a purpose. It's an honor to use our time. We sacrifice our time. Man, the church just wants me serving all the time. Don't they know that I got a life and I'm busy, and I got kids and I got sports practice? But we exist on purpose, for a purpose, and it's an honor. It's an honor to use our time, talent, and passion. That's how we respond. That's how we respond to those type of remarks. It's honor to use our time, our talent, the things we're good at, and our passion to serve people. Life change doesn't stop with us, it starts with us. Next one, we always bring God our best. Core value, excellence. We always bring God our best. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Excellence honors God and inspires people. We always bring God our best. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Excellence honors God and inspires people. It's why we're sticklers on making things excellent. That's why in rehearsals, band rehearsals, we run it again. We're got to make sure that camera shot's better. We got to tighten this up. It needs to sound better. We need to clean deeper. We need to do this. We need to do that. It's because we always bring God our best. When we come to work, we're prepared. When we get up to speak on a microphone, we're prepared. When we go into a meeting, we're prepared. Why? Because we always bring God our best. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Excellence honors God and inspires people. People want to be a part of things that are excellent. When you look at these campuses, the reason we were gifted this Fresno campus is because of excellence. People that walked through said, whoever's running this show is an excellent person. And excellence inspires people. And not only that, but it honors God. We take care of what God has given us. It ties into stewardship, right? So it's the circle talk. Stewardship, stewarding time, stewarding people, property, stewarding the resources, the things that we talk about all the time, processes, right? Okay. We always bring God our best. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Excellence honors God and inspires people. All right, next one. Belong before you believe. Belong before you believe. It's not our job to fix people. It's our job to love people. So this kind of holds hands with the other one when we talk about always only Jesus. We talk about being known for what we're for, not for what we're against. We allow people to belong before they believe. It's not our job to fix people. It's our job to love people. So when we have people that come into our church that don't believe like we do, we don't force them to act like us before they can be accepted into our family. They're allowed to belong before they believe. So again, same type of thing. Why do you let gay people in your church? Why do you let liars in your church? Why do you let all the different things that people want to be critical and point fingers at? Well, we allow people to belong before they believe. That you don't have to be like us to be a part of our family, and we know that it's not our job to fix people. It's our job to love people. This is the Circle Talk. We talk about things like living for the maybe. We'll continually use love. We have no confidence in hate. We have full confidence in love. We'll continue to love people over and over and over again. We won't reject them, because if we reject them, we don't ever have a chance of reaching them. But we'll love them for the fact that maybe one day, just maybe, right? Live for the maybe, just one day, just maybe their heart would be open, and maybe they would think of that one church that allowed them to belong before they believe. So it's a core value of who we are. People can come, they can come as they are, because that's what Jesus does with us every day, right? We all got our stuff, but he still allows us to belong in a family. So we allow people to belong before they believe. Okay, belong before you believe. It's not our job to fix people. It's our job to love people. It's not our job to fix people. It's our job to love people. So we believe that you can come as you are. We believe that anybody is welcome at our church. We're not going to stand up and on a weekend and beat people down. That's not the culture of church that we are. We want people to be empowered. But at the same time, next core value, we believe that growing people change. We come as we are, but we don't stay as we are. Core value of celebration. We believe growing people change. We believe God accepts us just like we are, but he doesn't leave us as we are. So we believe growing people change. We come as we are, but we don't stay as we are. It's why we encourage people to get involved in some of the different resources we're going to offer in the future for freedom classes and things like that. You don't just need to stay bound and dealing with the issues that, your grandparents and your parents dealt with year after year. We believe that growing people change, that God accepts us as we are, but then we're on a path to better ourselves. Life change. We believe in the power of Jesus unto life change, that we can be accepted as we are, but we don't stay as we are. Okay? Come as we are, but we don't stay as we are. Growing people change. We come as we are, but we don't stay as we are. Okay? Pretty good. Next one. We invite. We invite. The local church is a great place for people to hear about Jesus. We invite. So we place emphasis on the local church. We don't believe that it should be the only way that people hear about Jesus, but we think that the church is a great place for people to hear about Jesus. So we encourage people to invite. That seats, every seat represents a life. That's what we talk about that. Every chair represents a life that has the potential of being reached. So we go into our circles of influence, people that we have invested relationship. This is the circle talk around. People that we have invested relationship. When we bring them to church because we think that the local church is a great place for people to hear about Jesus. Okay. So we invite. We believe the local church is a great place for people to hear about Jesus. All right, and then the last one. The last core value here is why not? To reach people no one is reaching, we'll have to do things no one is doing. We gladly give up personal preference for the sake of reaching people. In other words, this is it's not about you, it's not about me, core value. Something that's always made us who we are. Why not? Why do you guys play secular music in the lobby? Response, why not? To reach people no one is reaching, we're gonna have to do things that no one is doing. So we gladly give up personal preference for the sake of reaching people. How come you don't play more hymns in the service? How come you don't have a cross on your platform? Well, why not? To reach people no one is reaching, we're gonna have to do things that no one is doing. So we gladly give up personal preference for the sake of reaching people. Why do you use technology? Why do you have the preacher on a screen? How come he's not live? Well, why not? To reach people no one is reaching, we're gonna have to do things that no one is doing. We gladly give up personal preference. I know you'd like to have them live, but at our church, we gladly give up personal preference for the sake of reaching people, because it's not about us. Not about us, it's about reaching people with the message of Jesus. Why not? To reach people no one is reaching, we'll have to do things no one is doing. We gladly give up personal preference for the sake of reaching people. Okay, I'm going to go through them again. I'll just talk through them, make sure everybody's got them. And then I'll email these to y'all so you can start going over them. And then in the next several weeks, I'm going to test y'all. So we're going to come in, you're going to write them out, right? This is who we are. This is important. This is culture. These are weapons. These are how we This is how we become better leaders. How we have a stronger church culture. How we control the crazies at our church. All right, and this is how we become more effective. This is how we reach our city. Is by what is celebration about? This is what we're about. These are the things that make us who we are. So our desire would be that everyone would know. That no person would be asked a question and the response would be, good question, right? Okay, core value statements, relationship, not religion. It's not about what you can do for God. It's about what God has done for you. Relationship, not religion. It's not about what you can do for God. It's about what God has done for you. I just don't feel good enough to come to church. I messed up last week. I need to receive Jesus again. I need help. Relationship, not religion. It's not about what you can do for God. It's about what God has done for you. Core value of our church and our faith. Next one, always only Jesus. Always only Jesus. We are known for what we are for, not what we are against. Always only Jesus. As a church, what we preach, we're known for what we're for, not for what we're against. Keep the main thing, all right? Teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. Our church is not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but on the sacrifice of many. It's a team effort. Everything that we do, reaching our city, our community, our church. Our church is a team-oriented church. It's not built on one anointed person or one spectacular person. For our church, teamwork makes the dream work. Our church is not built on the gifts and talents of a few, but on the sacrifice of many. Live to give. We live to give. Giving changes lives, and for us, there's nothing better. We lead the way in generosity. We live to give. Giving changes lives, and for us, there's nothing greater. Giving changes lives, and for us, there's nothing greater. Next one, enjoy life. Have fun. Enjoy life. Life should be enjoyed, not endured. We will have fun and laughed often. Enjoy life. Life should be enjoyed, not endured. We will have fun and laugh often. We're better together. We're better together. Through our church family, we find strength, wisdom, and support for our lives. We're better together. Through our church family, we find strength, wisdom, and support for our lives. On purpose, for a purpose. It's an honor to use our time, talent, and passion to serve people. Life change doesn't stop with us. It starts with us. Life change doesn't stop with us. It starts with us. We always bring God our best. We always bring God our best. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Excellence honors God and inspires people. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. Excellence honors God and inspires people. Belong before you believe. It's not our job to fix people. It's our job to love people. Belong before you believe. It's not our job to fix people. It's our job to love people. Growing people change. We come as we are, but we don't stay as we are. Growing people change. We come as we are, but we don't stay as we are. We invite. The local church is a great place for people to hear about Jesus. We invite. The local church is a great place for people to hear about Jesus. And last one, why not? To reach people no one is reaching, we'll have to do things no one is doing. We gladly give up personal preference for the sake of reaching people. Why not? To reach people no one is reaching, we'll have to do things no one is doing. We gladly give up personal preference for the sake of reaching people. Okay? That's what we're about. And you'll see from here, again, we're going to infuse our church with these statements. We're going to work on getting them on all the walls when people walk in. That there would be, canvas printouts with all of our core value statements everywhere people look, so we get it in the people that are coming to the church. They'll become weapons in all of our vibes, where you'll rotate a core value every week, and we don't have to figure out, what am I talking about at this meeting? You'll always only talk about core values. That's liberating, because then you don't have to figure out, where are we going as a church? This is who we are. This is where we are going, and how we win is by consistently enforcing culture. Any great organization has a strong culture. Somebody gets up to do an offering or to share a story, and everything ties into a core value. We don't have to figure out, well, what do I need to say today? This is what we talk about all the time. This is who we are as a church. This is why we exist. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, at our dream team huddle, we're going to go over them. So mission statement still stays the same. We'll continue to what is the word I'm looking for? Develop that with clarity. Really what we talk about, we exist to waken a generation to know God and make it known. A lot of times we shorten it. We exist to know God and to make him known. What we're really getting at is we want people to know Jesus. That's the way that they know God, is through Jesus. So we'll continue to develop that, but that stays the same. I mean, it means the same. We'll continue to chisel that away and that kind of thing. But yeah, so that stays the same. Pretty much all the other ones, when we talk about like court, they're all it's always God, people, each other, right? That's our faith. So those are all embodied in these. When we talk about we're radically committed to each other, radically committed to people, radically committed to God, we're talking about these things right here. They're all in there. So again, that circle talk is all of those things. Okay. Strictly these. You can reference them. Those are great tools. To me, that's all circle talk. Because this is the whole thing. These are core values. There's lots of other catchy, statements or taglines where we say like when I use the live for the maybe. That's not necessarily one of the, but it fits in. It's a great example. The backpack example. There's certain things that we use all the time. Those are great things because they're things that are, easily lodge in people's mind. We're radically committed to this, radically committed to whatever. Things that help it lock in, use it. But making sure that these are always the primary, the first thing that we say out of our mouth. When a question is asked, these are the weapons. These are the responses. Yeah, we'll continue as we continue to develop what Celebration Exposed continues to look like, we'll definitely emphasize, because this is it. This is what we're about. This is celebration. These are the main things. This is when we talk about our core value menu, this is it. This is what makes us tick. This is our terminology. What do we say? This is what we say. What do we want volunteers saying? This is what we want volunteers saying. Word for word, word for word, and then talk circles around the statement, but this is what we want communicated. It's who we are. Any other questions? I'm excited about this because this is it's equipping leaders. It's building for more impact. It really is. It's enabling us to build for more impact, to reach our city greater, to reach more people with the message of Jesus, because it exists within a model that you can't lose, that people can constantly know what we're about. This is what we're about. This is what we do. This is who we are. This is how we respond to situations. This is why we do what we do, in serving Jesus and getting people to do the same. All of these things feed into awakening a generation or getting people to know God through Christ and to take that same knowledge and extend it to the rest of the world. That's why we exist. And that's what all these things do. They help push towards that. Good? All right, cool. Well, I think that's it. I'll email these to you guys so you guys can have them. And I think that's all good. So we'll go ahead and pray and take off. One thing I do want to say is please make sure, and in all of your different areas of responsibility and what you're here to do at the church, we have a very flexible work schedule. And I think we can all be better at appreciating that. One thing I need to make sure everybody understands, though, is as we've kind of evolved as a staff, things have kind of changed where everybody's not on the same playing field in this room. There's different tiers of responsibility. There's different tiers of accountability and what's required of you. So what I want to challenge everybody in is don't become entitled in the sense of comparing what you do to what someone else is doing. And just because you see somebody else's requirements as different than yours, don't assume that your requirements become what theirs are. What am I talking about? You need to be on time to prayer, okay? If there's other people that are not on time to prayer, everybody has different life dynamics and there's different things required of them, and that's between them and their supervisors. So you don't know what's always going on, so don't take, so-and-so hasn't been here in the morning. Well, I didn't see Pastor here. Well, I didn't see Nick here. Or Rick was gone this morning. Well, I guess I can go ahead and come in late too. No, that's not how it works. Everybody's not on an equal playing field in this room, okay? So there's different things that come up, and if there's a situation that arises where you're going to be late, you need to communicate. You need to communicate with your direct report. If you don't know who that is, you can ask me, and I can tell you, who it is that you need to make sure you're communicating with. We all need to be good stewards of our time and taking our job seriously. Okay, so just make sure. I say that just to kind of bring to the table that if you've been with us for a while, things are not now how they've always been. Okay, so learn to grow with the organization as the organization is growing. Don't be lofty or assuming that I'm the same as so-and-so or so-and-so is the same as me. Know your role, know what you're doing, and make sure that you're communicating properly. Because the standard is 8:30 is when we start our workday, okay? Our prayer. All right? Okay. Let's pray. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for what you're doing in our lives individually and what you're doing in our church, in your church corporately. We're just honored to be a part. Thank you, Jesus, for your grace and for your mercy that you give to us every day, that gives us the empowerment, that gives us the energy, that gives us the mental focus to say, okay, we're going to get up, we're going to do it again, and we're going to go after it. We just ask that you continue to help us, that you help us to have a healthy perspective of what you called us to do and why we're here and why we're doing it. We just ask for your grace, for your supernatural empowerment to do the things that you've called us to do in every area of our lives, from leading our families, to our relationships, to our friendships, to what we do here for work and then in leading people. We ask that you would help us, that you would grace us. We rely on your grace, not by might nor by power, but by the Spirit of God. We place emphasis on the Spirit of God that dwells on the inside of us, and we choose to tap into it. That wouldn't be by the strong arm of our flesh and what we can do and what we can accomplish, but we know that everything that we accomplish is because you're doing it through us. We choose to be believers, not doubters. We choose to be believers and know that we live by a different set of rules, and we rely on the Spirit of God that lives on the inside of us to live our lives, to be effective in taking a message of hope and extending it to the world. We ask that you'd help us in our lives, in our marriages, in our families, in our singleness in this room, to be able to navigate and to be able to think clearly, to be sober-minded, as your word asks us to do over and over and over, to be sober-minded, to see things right, to see things clearly, that we're not distracted by little things. We stay focused on the call and the mission and the thing that you've called us to do. We thank you for everything that you're doing in our lives. We just remind ourselves what an honor it is to serve you. In Jesus' name. Everybody said, amen.